is Miss Dowder, and I'm going to show you all of the materials and part of some of the stuff that I used for my lessons on the 5 senses. First, I'd like to introduce my whiteboard, which every lower school, early childhood educator needs. Their whiteboard, their dry erase markers, and erasers to discuss what the 5 senses are. So we have my 5 senses: sight, touch, smell, hear, and taste, with visual pictures for the children to understand. Each lesson I started with a read aloud, and some of the books that I used were My 5 Senses, My 5 Senses by a different author, and Thump Thump Rat a Tat Tat for the hearing portion of the lesson for rhythm. So these were books that I read and reread throughout all of the lessons, introducing what the 5 senses were in the beginning and then moving forward with more in-depth information throughout the lessons. For every lesson we always have whiteboards, dry erase markers, and erasers for the students to practice in the writing portions of the lesson, to practice their letters and writing their names before they write it on the paper, and then adding materials to use for the 5 senses. We have our crayons, our eraser markers, washable markers, glue, pencils, the pencil sharpeners over there, glitter, and then we also have My 5 Senses board, which the students can use, which is magnetic, and they each can get a copy of the My 5 Senses board to reinforce what the 5 senses are and which body parts go with those senses. They would use the material in here, which are magnets, and they can stick them to where the sense would go. So if we have a rainbow, we would say sight, because you would see the rainbow, and the rainbow is put there. This all reinforces independent work during the lessons if they're done with the material that we've been working on. We also have boards that have see, hear, smell, touch, taste, and there's cards that they can also use to put on to reinforce the material. Some of the other materials that we had for touch, they could use, which is soft snow, for Christmas holidays, the pad and the insulation. We have pine cones for touching, which are scented like cinnamon, which they used for their scent and touch books. We have pretty Christmas ornaments for touch and sight, noticing the kind of glitter and the shining and the material, and also touching because it's textured. Some of the work that we did within the lessons, where the students wrote their names and then they would glue different textured materials to their names. And we have this one, beans, glitter, and this was one of the things that we did in the first lesson, was the writing the names and then gluing material to make it textured. We also have working with pom-poms, which are sight and touch, where they could glue it on, and they could also use pom-poms for their names. We made this feels like, where they would trace their hands and they put material, which is textured material, to glue to their hands. We did leaf drawing, where they would put the leaves and they could find and see the different textures of the leaves. And then each student did, throughout the lessons, I hear, with the earrings, the hearing, the ear for the symbol. I see, I smell, I taste. Some of the others are the books that we made, using the pine cones for the smelling, and they would be able to write down what they smell. And that's mostly, and we also did for Thanksgiving, we always use texture to differentiate between the sight and the seeing and the touching. So that's really what I did for most of my lessons and all of my materials and some of my student work. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.